Hi ho everybody and welcome back to D Plus Us Weekly, the show where we talk about shows exclusive to Disney Plus, episode by episode, week by week, for our enjoyment and yours. I'm one of your hosts, Griffin L. Griffey D. Patton. With me as always is the wonderful, the amazing Mr. Mitch George. How are you doing today?
I gotta back up, give me 1 second. Oh! I don't know how that came through, but
I'm so happy that Discord has audio
Peeking?
ability peaking, because it just totally cut you
Yay.
off for all of it.
Oh, I said "con" really loud, like in Star Trek, but not related to Star Trek.
Oh, I knew
'cause
what
we're
I was
talking
getting.
about Daredevil. I knew. I was reiterating it for those folks that aren't going to hear it because I'm an idiot.
It's a great image, great endorsement of our video podcast. Of course, folks, this is D Plus Us Weekly, the show where we talk about episodes of shows that are currently airing on Disney Plus, or sometimes going back and talking about old stuff. Of course, we are currently going through Daredevil Born Again, and we are here today to talk about episodes 4 and 5. What are the titles of them? I had that written down, but they're cool.
It's 5 and 6, isn't it?
5 and 6, that's what I meant.
We're off to a great
I'm going to
start,
be really
everybody.
honest with you. I am really tired right now.
With interest and excessive force.
Thank you.
I got you.
2 very good episodes, a double episode week, which at first I was very confused by, and then we sat down and watched the episodes, and I was like, oh, no, okay, that makes sense. Giving us a little mid-season break with episode 5 in things, seeing Matt get to just be Matt, and then getting back into the story with episode 6.
Yeah.
Of course, folks, this show is full spoilers, but before we jump into everything, let me hit you all with a little bit of housekeeping. First off, hey, are you over on the podcast services? Head on over to that YouTube channel and vice versa. YouTube channel, you can see our lovely faces as well as exclusive YouTube content, such as the video essay where I decided to recreate a video game from the parks because I am insane.
Have I gotten a haircut yet? You'll have to tune into the video to find out.
You will have to compare episodes.
Go in with a ruler up to your screen and just measure the length of my beard, because I would like to know, to be honest.
That would be an interesting thing to go back in a podcast and measure someone's beard.
I'm actually kind of worried about how this whole thing is going to wrap, because eventually my kid is going to find all of this. They're like, oh, Dad was a crazy person during the pandemic, and it only got worse.
Thank God there are so many of those early episodes are not on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Much better now.
Yeah, go check out the YouTube channel, folks. Seriously, there's good stuff over there. We're insane, but it's fun. As well as go check out our regular main show. I say regular, like we don't do this one significantly more often.
When there's a weekly show, sure, but
Yeah, fair enough.
sometimes we go 2 or 3 months without one.
We just wrapped up a 3-episode series there, talking about the first 3 Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Really fun few episodes there. The third one, the most recent episode, definitely the most contentious between the two of us.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an interesting conversation. It was a good time, and y'all should go check it out.
And of course, we'll be having more episodes about more recent stuff here coming up. Now that I am settled here in Florida.
I mean, like the news breaking today that Wizards Beyond Waverly Place has been renewed for a 2nd season.
I'm going to be honest with you on that one. I never watched season 1.
Yeah, and I watched the first half of the first episode.
Mm-hmm. I watched clips of it on TikTok. That was really it. And those clips were fun. I'm sure this show's great. Just when there's 5,000.
We're in the wrong demographic for it.
Plus, when there's 5,000 shows to watch, it's hard to watch even the shows that I actively am wanting to watch. Nonetheless, the other.
So you say that, but I've spent the last 2.5 weeks getting into F1 Drive to Survive on Netflix. So I definitely have time. I'm just watching the weirdest things out of left field.
Oh, I don't have time.
Yeah, you moved. That's hard.
Yeah.
See, I have time because I just put the baby on the lap, and then he takes the bottle, and then I watch a whole bunch of British people swear at each other on a racetrack. And it's a great time. And it's definitely not going to leave my son with any sort of long-lasting psychological, oh God.
Anyways, folks, we're here today to talk about Daredevil. Episode 5, directed by Jeffrey Nachmanoff, who directed last week's episode, and episode 6, Excessive Force, directed by David Boyd, who's directing next week's episode. What a great couple of episodes here. I I feel like we got to start with just with episode 5 and then jump into just episode 6 because
I think that's fair.
these are two wildly different episodes.
Well, they're not telling the same story, which I thought was an interesting approach because I feel like when they initially conceptualized this show, they probably didn't plan to have that interstitial. But it was really cool, so I'm glad they did it.
I
But it
mean,
did seem a little odd.
that interstitial, I don't think I think it was always planned for the show. I don't think it was originally planned as an interstitial. I
That's
mean,
true,
we've
actually, yeah.
seen everything coming out like from John Bernthal, from Charlie Cox, from Deborah Ann Wool. Like this original version of the show was so very, very, very different, and it really makes me wonder what happened in that original version.
Well, it wasn't, right? Because this has definitely got the same tone that you would expect out of a Daredevil story. But there are moments like this, like episode 5 in particular, I feel is so different, right? It is one, it's daytime, which is a nice change of pace. You get alley fights, but they're lit well, which is odd for a show like this. It does feel like it's part of a different show, and it does lend itself well to integrating Matt and Daredevil into the wider MCU, which obviously we got the cameo here from Mr. Khan, Kamala's father. So definitely setting up, some sort of New York area based team up of sorts. We'll see what that becomes, if it becomes
I mean, we
anything.
very much like greater MCU stuff, right? Like we got that tease towards Young Avengers slash Champions.
Champions.
Presumably they are going to go Champions. Um,
I mean, by the
um,
time they actually get to filming it, a lot of the actors that are young, quote unquote, Avengers won't be that young anymore.
okay, you
So
say that, but
they
like
might have to.
The Young Avengers has always been a team when they've all been in like their early 20s.
But even still, Haley Steinfeld's what, 29
Yeah, she is the older
ish?
one of the group.
Well,
Um,
and
the
yeah.
joke about the Young Avengers is genuinely that they're never really that young.
Well, I think what'll be interesting of that, if and when it does materialize, maybe Matt takes on the mentorship role here that you might have expected from maybe like a Doctor Strange or someone to that pedigree. But if it is, New York heroes, then you get Hawkeye, you get Spidey, you get Kamala. Like
I think
it
it's
could
just I
work.
really think it's just a fun nod to the greater MCU as a whole. I don't think this episode is telling of further MCU crossover.
No, but I
Um,
think Matt exists in this space, going back to his appearance in She-Hulk, where he can live in the bright, colorful levity of the MCU. And I think this episode is a lot of that, with some really interesting, like Daredevil-y moments. But also live in that space that is a little grungier, a little darker, a little
Very much
like
so.
it's more brutal, right? We don't get a lot of that brutality here, although there is the alley fight where the dude gets his leg broken. But
I don't know
apart from that,
that fight scene, like yes, that part, but also in the staircase.
see,
Like
I thought the staircase was just cool.
Matt
I
still
didn't think it was
fights
brutal.
brutal, but
Yeah.
mind you, brutal to regular human beings in the context of the larger MCU is not
Mhm.
that brutal when you have somebody who can literally tear, not just somebody, most people, most characters can just casually tear someone in half.
Yeah.
So that
So I mean,
brutality I
just
think is less brought down, but also like yes, this is brighter, but this also gives me remembrances of no, this is just Daredevil during the daytime. That's literally all it is. It is Matt being Daredevil, but 12 hours earlier or later, depending on how you want to say it. Like
yeah.
it is,
I
and I like
I
that for
don't.
that exact reason of it being part of the greater MCU, but also a
Yeah.
look at what it could be like if Matt was Daredevil full time.
Well, and that's kind of what I was getting at. Of you integrate Matt and Daredevil into the wider MCU. Maybe it's not as bloody, but it could still be as violent and as brutal as you see here within the context of other properties, wherever it is that Matt pops up next. And I do think that they've got a really interesting opportunity with this character, and I'll be disappointed if Matt's appearance in the MCU goes the way of, say, a Shang-Chi.
Yeah, I don't think it will. I think that people love Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio way too much to let that happen.
Kingpin's got to be the villain of the next Spidey film.
Yeah,
I'm so
but
ready for it. But that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about
even
episode
aside
5, this bank
from that,
heist.
this bank heist I thought was I thought this was very very well placed for an episode that definitely feels like it's something separate. Of no, this is actually great timing to show Matt slip back into being Daredevil, where it's like this entire time he is being Matt with his abilities of Daredevil, and I think it's so well balanced to be like, no, I'm just gonna do this thing because I'm the only one here. It's extremely dangerous. No cops are gonna be able to get here in time. We're just doing this thing and just
What
going
what
for
I
it.
don't love here, just the cracks are forming, and I've talked about this for a few weeks now. Of just Matt is eventually the walls are coming down, and he's going to be Daredevil again. I know we're talking about the episodes in isolation, but it's hard not to talk about episode 6 with that.
Well, I
But
think
we'll
that's
get to
why
that
this
when we get to
pairing
that episode.
works. Is this the crack
It
showing, and then 6 is the dam breaking.
what I don't love about that though is we have this duality between the stories of Matt and Fisk. And while we get that symmetry in episode 6, we don't get any of that here. And I understand this living on its own as a one-off episode. It was really fun, really good time. But I missed Kingpin. I missed Fisk and the way his story is intertwined as closely as it is with Matt and Daredevil through the first 4 episodes. It did feel like his
Yeah,
presence was needed here.
as part of the greater show, agreed. But like looking at just the episode by itself, I was totally fine without Fisk being a part of this one. I think it was a
Yeah.
good reminder here that Daredevil's enemies, the people that Daredevil fights against and fights for, isn't always 100% based around Fisk. Like he does have serve a greater purpose for his city than just fighting Wilson Fisk. And I think
Although
it's a
at the
good
end of the
reminder.
day, I mean, at the end of the day, the bank heist was related to Fisk in some way. Everything comes back to Fisk, at least when it
Oh
comes to
yeah,
Matt's
because that's
story.
how
They're
we have to write
so
this shit.
intertwined. Yeah.
Even though like I'm sure they'll tie Muse back into Fisk somehow, but I really hope they don't. Um,
We'll see. Gonna take a couple
see.
episodes to
But
find
at the
out.
same time, like Muse is also is implied to be inhuman in the comic books and also has like superpowers. So it looks like we're not going that route. That's episode 6 though. Um,
We might be. You never know.
Other things about the episode 5 here. Love Matt doing a bad Irish accent.
It wasn't even bad. Like the dude, like
Well, the dude's
Charlie Cox is
British.
British. His Irish accent was pretty good.
It's just funny to me that it's a British dude playing an American doing an Irish accent. Like it's just the hierarchy of those things. It's always funny to me.
Yeah.
It
I
happens.
also just like the 2 scenes that stand out to me the most in this episode. I think we've already mentioned the stairwell fight. How muted it needed to be, given the context of the fight, was so well orchestrated. The um like I would say like the cinematography and
Dude, him
specifically
catching the gun.
the sound editing, the sound design in that scene was phenomenal. It should be put up for Emmys for that reason alone. And then the safe cracking scene I thought was really really cool to show Matt doing something with his abilities that isn't just you missed your punch and now I'm going to hit you back in the face, which I thought was really really cool.
Yeah, I love that we're also as well like the what kind of lawyer are you? A good lawyer is just becoming his catchphrase at this point.
Yeah, which honestly, like such a fun, like that the levity they can bring, even with how brutal of a story they are telling with these characters, is it's nice to be able to break that up a bit. And I do think that's some of that original storytelling motif coming through. It is very much like looking at Deadpool and Wolverine and how they brought that into the MCU and kept a lot of the tone, but it wasn't as over the top crass as previous Deadpool films. Had great nods, lots of fourth wall breaking, but wasn't overly rude in the way that the first 2 films could have been. I feel like Born Again is doing that with Daredevil, but just not muting the brutality of it, but definitely finding ways to break up those moments with moments of levity.
Yeah, I think it's interesting where it's like having gone back and like recently watched the first 3 seasons. There's a lot of humor in those seasons, and it's just kind of put aside because of how dark and brutal everything else is. I like that in Born Again, and especially in episode 5, it's no, the levity balances it out.
No, I'll be right back.
Go for it. Mitch has to go off so that he doesn't burn his house down. He's cooking dinner. But getting back into my point, I love how Matt balances that. It is fucking hilarious when he's talking to like uh, Yusuf Khan with like the joke about, oh, I'm just a really good lawyer, and then there's also like him talking. Some of the scenes with him actually just talking to the hostage negotiators are genuinely funny. Like Matt is such a smartass. He is such a punk. And I love that so much. I love that we get to see that in this episode. As well as kind of showing once again how, within bringing it into the bigger part of it. Okay, great. Mitch is back. I'm going to fill him in a second. Just talking about how Matt's an ass. Fucking assholes. Asshole.
I just walked back into the room. Really glad I put on pants today. Otherwise, it would have been very awkward for
That would have been a
YouTube.
really awkward moment. But yeah, I'm talking about
Yeah.
Matt is just a punk. Like he's such a smartass, and I love it so much.
He's that Irish kid from the streets. He just also can't see and has superpowers and stuff.
But like I love also like it's the little things in this one that brings it back into the bigger story for it of like how the cops of New York are just inept.
Inept or corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Pick 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, right?
Hand in hand. Like,
But I also just
they can't do
sorry,
shit in this situation because yeah, all the cops are gone because it's St. Patty's Day. Like
Yeah,
they
they're all out drinking.
genuinely can't do shit.
But also, I love. I think the character's name's Devlin, the lead robber. He has such good banter back and forth with Matt throughout the whole episode. I think it was just really, really well done. And I do love that they tried to pull the classic heist move of I'm going to leave when the police come in because I've disguised myself as the police. Because of course the police are in Fisk's pocket, so they have access to uniforms and badges and all these things, right? Did that bank look familiar to you?
Not really, but I also never really pay attention to those.
Have you ever seen the film Inside Man, starring Clive Owen and Denzel Washington?
Sam Bank.
It's the same bank. And I love that movie. So as soon as that popped, I'm like, yo, we're about to get some heist. And it's gonna be good. We're gonna be eating. And we were.
And we were. It was a great episode. I want to shift gears now into talking about episode 6. I think this is where we kind of get the meat of the potatoes. Meat and potatoes of this episode.
Funny. St. Patrick's Irish meat and potatoes.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
Like that a lot.
Did that on purpose for sure, yeah.
Ah, you know what? That makes sense. Good
Anyways,
transition.
Let's talk about Matt finally putting the costume back on and just beating the ever loving shit out of Muse. Well,
Not the only one putting a
wow.
costume on. Not the only one putting a costume on. Come on, we can't skip over that. Come on.
I'm not sure what part you're referring to.
We're talking about Swordmaster?
Oh, that's right. Here's the thing.
That was this
I
episode.
totally forget that he's in costume. My brain just has Jack running around with a fucking sword.
Which, I mean, fair, but yeah, no, just the fact that he's taken on this vigilante mantle it's kind of fun to see him just running around New York with a sword.
It is
Trying to
nice
stop crime.
seeing him get referred to as swordsman.
Although I do worry, given what we've seen with other vigilantes in this show, and if they touch Jack, there might be a riot. Like White Tiger was one thing; he was a new character, not as invested in the story. But you mess with Jack, and
That's one
you know,
cameo.
there's gonna be
we're
hell
not
to
see-
pay.
We're not seeing Jack again in the show.
Oh God, no, not a chance. But I love too the moment before he puts on the suit again, of just he's sitting there. He hears the things coming through. Like he gets the phone call. Simplest thing in the world. Thing any of us would say in that situation.
Yeah,
Fuck it.
it's
So good.
It's so good. I love so much about this episode. Like, I'm trying to remember Angela. Did I get it right? I know I keep calling her Ava.
Angela, his niece.
His niece, yes.
Yeah, Angela.
Angela, like this episode largely revolving around her, I think is so good. I love her foil to Matt in a lot of these situations of bringing up the points that Matt doesn't necessarily discuss. You know, when it came to like last week with them talking about the justice system and how it just doesn't help them, and then how that was mirrored then immediately in Matt's court cases, to coming to this week when it's like, yep, the justice system not going to be helpful to her. He knows it. He has to do something about it, and that's what's ultimately the thing that pushes him and breaks him to put on the mask again and go save her. And then just to give us one of the best fight scenes we've gotten from Daredevil, just period.
Yeah, that tunnel fight was so good. Just you see the shadow just running out of the smoke. It's like, oh, someone's about to get fucked up.
Dude, there's like that moment when Muse does like that some contortionist bullshit when he's getting
That's why I
back
think
up.
there's some superpowers to it. He's not a normal human being.
Look, it's just the way to get me to freak out without fail every time is just to have a character do some contortionist shit.
Do the Scarlet Witch voodoo thing she did in Multiverse of yeah, exactly. See, I got the reaction I expected out of you. That's
Yeah,
all it takes.
I hate it.
The
I
Exorcist
hate
walk
it
down the
so
stairs
much.
moment.
I love it, but I hate it. It's
That's the point.
I love this though. Like this is that episode right where of everything breaks, both
Yeah.
for Fisk and for Matt. Like
The duality there, jumping back and forth between the moment where Fisk becomes Kingpin again, Matt becomes Daredevil again. The duality in their story and the way that this is going to come to a head by the presumably the end of next season, because I don't see there being a lot of finality here. Honestly, I don't think they wrap up the anti-vigilante story in the next 3 episodes.
oh
So
no,
that's definitely going to carry through.
I think they might wrap up Muse,
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
but they're gonna this anti-vigilante story is bigger than that.
I am surprised it just kind of happened, that there wasn't a bigger catalyst to the anti-vigilante task force, similarly to what we got in the comics. I know we both kind of fell on the side last week of it was going to very closely mirror what happened in the comics, and that they would be deputized because of the actions of Muse or Punisher or something to that ilk.
See,
And
I still think we're
to just get it, be like, oh yeah, now we're a thing, cool,
I
we're
still
bad
think we're gonna
cops
get it.
doing bad
I
things.
still think we're gonna get it. Mark my words.
I do too.
I
I
think
do
it's
too,
going
but I
to
don't think it's
be
going to be
a
the same. Yeah, sorry.
So I think it's going to be rather than this is the founding, it's going to be this is the ramping up. I think we've
This is
got
when public perception shifts in their favor away from the vigilantism, right?
because so far Muse is still no one really knows what's happening with Muse. They're keeping the blood paintings under wrap. And I love how that played out so
I,
much.
I love that Muse is just, hey, I'm Banksy, but I kill people also. Like that's literally it.
Yeah, pretty
Internet
much.
celebrity ends up killing those 2 girls because they were just there and knew who he was or knew of him as a character.
Hey, he needed the paint. Um,
Fucking hell. But he doesn't even
But-
need the paint. He puts it into the paint to keep it from being able to be easily destroyed, which is, I'd say, worse because he already has the materials that he needs to paint. It just, he also goes the extra mile of, brutally murdering young women and
I mean, yeah, he
presumably
is a
men as
serial
well, although
killer.
we've only seen women. Yeah.
Um,
It's really fucked up.
yeah, that's why I've been so excited for Muse. Like,
Yeah.
this is a character that's so perfect a foil to Matt, as well as a foil to Wilson.
Yeah.
This is an artist who has something to say about how everything is going, but it's also a being of pure chaos. And then also comic wise has a superpower set that is perfectly antithetical to Daredevil. Like
Yeah, and I can't wait to see that if that does come to fruition here, depending on how they want to tell the Muse story, because that fight should not have ended as cleanly as it did. If Muse has any abilities similar to what he has in the comics, so it'll be interesting to see where they go with this character through the rest of the season and through this series. But yeah, really excited to see what comes next, and I think that's what this show leaves you with every week. And that's why I worry about there already being a second season in production. The cliffhanger that we're going to get at the end of this first season is going to kill us until we get an announcement for the release date of season 2.
the good news is like the season 2 is going to be 2026.
You say that now.
Look, everything about
Shit
it
happens.
is this is set like even like the executive producer Brad Winderbaum has even said like our goal is early to mid 2026.
Yeah.
Like we are not going. This isn't going to be a Andor situation where we have to wait what feels like forever to get season 2.
We're so close.
That's our next show, baby. Cannot wait.
Yeah, it is.
Um, this is going to come quick, as it should. This if you're going to make it a 2-part story, you should have it quick.
I also wouldn't mind getting more. Like, I know they've announced it as a 2-season arc, but I want more. I want more of this character. I want more of this street level New York bullshit. I want more. I just give me more. Gimme.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the viewership numbers are adding up to what we will probably get more of. I know season premiere did well, but not as well as other things. For instance, I know like it did not do quite as well as Agatha. So I'm curious where that's going to put this on the we need to make more or not. But say what you will, Daredevil has the limelight right now. Everybody is talking about it. And that is fantastic for those of us that absolutely love this shit.
Yeah.
Anyways,
On to next week.
Next week, which is like tomorrow, but
Oh my god, the next couple of days. We got this tomorrow. If you're a gamer, we got the Switch 2 presentation on Wednesday. I still got to watch Mufasa, apparently, so we can talk about it. We still got to talk about Moana, too. That was a thing that happened. Spider-Man's in the bank, which we need to talk about. So much good stuff on Disney Plus. We just have not been able to keep up. So we will get to this stuff as soon as the world allows us to.
Yes, we are going to sit down and talk about recording some of that stuff here, hopefully soon, folks. So keep an eye out for that stuff coming soon, very soon. Of course, you can keep an eye out for everywhere at D Plus Us, and make sure to see us next week, where we'll talk about episode 7, and the week after with episode 8, the week after that with episode 9, and then Andor, baby.
Is it the week after the finale Andor starts?
I have no idea, but God, I hope so.
I'm gonna find out. Give me like 3 seconds. Just fill time.
Please let me know.
And that's dropping over the course of 3 weeks, right? We're getting 3 episodes a week for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know our finale is April 15th for Daredevil.
Guess what starts April 22nd?
Andor season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plenty of stuff coming. I want to do an episode on Phineas and Ferb, and really it's just to make Mitch watch the entirety of Phineas and Ferb.
My wife will be really happy about it. I'll just let her sit in and chat with you. You don't need me.
Yeah. Carmen takes over that episode.
Perry is Carmen's shit, not mine.
Fair. Anyways, folks, we will see y'all in the next episode. Keep an eye out for all of our other stuff. But until then, be good to each other and have a magical day.
Excelsior.